Greetings and welcome to Ninjaversity and powered by Web.Ninja. This is PJ Ferguson, your web success guru and host for this webinar. This is our weekly WordPress webinar where we show you how to use WordPress so that rather than fighting your website, you can move on and focus on your business and helping your customers, which is what it's all about. Today's topic is all about, oh yeah, you'll have to forgive my frog voice. I have forest fire smoke and cold that hit me at the same time, and I was a little vulnerable. So if I have a frog voice, you'll just have to bear with me. And if I start hacking through the middle of the meeting, please forgive me. So today's topic is, again, it's all about categories and tags, how to choose them, how to use them, and more. I love this topic. I'm really excited to be able to share it with you because there's lots of really good stuff that most people have probably never thought about. And as I share some of these details, a lot of things will probably come into focus for you as to why search engines behave the way they do, why you should choose certain categories or tags to use on your site, whether you're doing a blog or doing white sheets or articles on your site. This will give you some really good insights to help you choose those tags and categories and use them more wisely and strategically. So to illustrate it first, I want to go back to this image that if you've been to the other webinars or some of the other trainings that I do, I use this image or a similar one frequently because what you want to do with your website is create this beautifully connected web of links and keywords that tells the search engines very clearly what your site is all about. Because when people search for things that are on your website, you want the search engines to put your subject matter right at the top. And so by using a very clear and strategic method of choosing your keywords and phrases and the way that you interlink your site, this helps the search engines understand the subject relevance, and the big word, quote unquote, is relevance of your site is. And so when you do it right, it's going to look like this beautiful web as far as the search engines are concerned. Now, I used to have a splat that I show, and if you don't do it right, the search engines just see this nasty, ugly splat. But we'll just focus on what we want them to see, which is this beautiful, well-connected, interlaced web. Okay, and categories and tags are one of the very most important ways that you do that. And I'm going to actually just jump to the reason why. I'll show you, I've made some little notes here for our meeting today that just give you a little bit of a rundown, and I wrote them down so that if you watch the video after, you can get this info and take some notes for yourself. Okay, so when I'll show you my blog, first of all, the Web.Ninja blog, and what you see here on the left are the different articles that we've written. I'll scroll through some of these, okay? And on the right, you'll see some categories and some tags. Now, normally I don't have this tag cloud showing just because there's a lot, and it can be helpful or harmful to your user's experience. In my case, it's really not helpful, so I normally hide it. I'm just showing it so that you can get a vision of what's going on my site, okay? And so to show you exactly why these are important, I'm going to click on one of these categories. Now, what you see up here is the URL. You can see it's web.ninja, which is my website, category, which we're looking at categories, and case studies, okay? And this is the first thing that search engines see. And this is so important because the closer up to the beginning is where search engines start developing relevance or categorizing relevance for your website. So the first thing that search engines are going to categorize relevance for my site is Web Ninja, okay? Category, they kind of just look over that because that's more of a categorization rather than this is what the site is about. they understand to ignore this, basically, other than to say, here's what some of the categories on the site are. Now, the further you go down this URL string, you may have all sorts of different whatevers that pop up here. Okay. Now, the further you get down this string, the less and less relevance the search engines attribute to your website. So you might have something way down here at the end of a long string. Well, search engines aren't really going to pay that much attention to something that's way down here at the end. But if you have something that's up here closer at the beginning, then the search engines are going to pay close attention. They're also going to pay attention to well, this is a category. They're trying to tell me that case studies is an important topic for this website. So right then and there, that should start illustrating why a category is important to establishing relevance on your website for the search engines. Because this is right here what you're using to tell them what your site is about. Okay, so we'll go into that just a little bit more. And before that, I'm going to illustrate how this shows up for tags. Tag shows up the same. You can see right here at the beginning is my website. We've got this little tag as a tag. And then we have a tag that's called Celebrate Freedom. Now, this is going to tell the search engines that Celebrate Freedom has some relevance to my website, but we want to be really careful because that's not what the big thing about my website is. My site's not about celebrating freedom necessarily. It's about website design, website tips, different things that have to do with marketing, topics that are built around creating web success for your website. So this is going to kind of lead into our topic, and I wanted to illustrate that for you, starting with what the search engines see and why it's important to them. Okay, so we don't really hang out up here as users. This isn't our play zone. This looks like gobbledygook to most people. We play down here on the site. And so by choosing categories and tags wisely, you're going to be building what's going on up here for the search engines in a strategic way, hopefully strategic, excuse me. So I'll go back to my notes and we'll start from the top. What is the difference between categories and tags? This is one of the biggest questions I get from customers and clients, visitors to our webinars and tutorials. And it's confusing for people. Why should I pick or use a certain category versus a tag? Well, categories are the big, major recurring topics or categories on your site or blog. These are going to be things that you'll write about again and again and again through the different articles or blogs that you post on your blog. And so you want to pick things that are broad topics. You don't want to pick things that are very specific. So I'm actually going to put this in here, broad topics. And hopefully you're taking notes. But how that differs from tags, tags are more like buzzwords that are highlighted in an article. It may be the subject matter of that article, or it may be something that is trending in the world, something that's going on and you have an opinion about it, or your constituents have questions about it. Your fans want to know, what do you think? What do you have to say? What's your expertise on that? And you can grab that topic by using as a tag. And by using it as a tag, you can highlight that topic for the search engines without telling the search engines, well, hey, this is a major topic for my site, because that's what you're using categories for. So tags still get the attention of search engines, but they give them less relevance to the overall content of your site. So if you want to establish relevance for your specific topic, which mine would be, say, web design and marketing, I'm going to use categories for those. If I want to highlight a certain topic, then I would use a tag to do that. Now, again, there are very important strategies for using tags and categories. So let's talk a little bit about how many should I have, because that's another question that people have. Categories, since we're talking about broad topics, you should have no more than 5 to 8. Because if you use more than that, if you use too few, then you don't establish quite enough relevance for the search engines. They might have to guess a little bit at what your site is about. And if they have to guess, they're going to kind of put your site on the shelf. So if you use too many, then it starts feeling spammy. Again, the search engines have difficulty establishing that relevance. What is this site really about? Because you've got too many topics, and that can water down the strength of the certain keywords and phrases that you've chosen. Now, tags, you can have unlimited tags on your website. But per article, you should really not use more than 3 to 5, because tags, you're trying to establish the relevance of that specific blog post or article. And so even though you can have unlimited tags on your site, each article or blog post should have no more than 3 to 5 tags. Because again, you want to establish relevance. You don't want to water it down with using too few or too many. So I'm going to jump to what's called a tag cloud, because this is going to kind of help illustrate, again, what the search engines see when they look at your site. Now, a tag cloud, what the search engines are looking for, and I'm going to pull this up again. Again, we've got Web Ninja, and as a tag, I've used Do It Right. Okay. Now, I may have written lots of articles about Do It Right. Now, if I did that, the search engines would see that, and they would start building relevance just because of volume as to, oh, they're trying to tell us, maybe they did 20 articles about Do It Right and tagged them as that. They're trying to tell us that this site is about Do It Right. Which may or may not be the case. And again, this is where the strategy part comes in for the tag cloud. So if I had, this is a visual representation of what the search engines see. For instance, this article writes about people a lot. It also writes about just, it also writes about one, because they've put these tags in there. Now, these are not well-chosen tags, honestly. They're not they're not compared against or researched against what people are searching, and they're broad. They're just too broad for the search engines to really take them seriously. But this is a visual representation of, hey, this blog wrote about people. It tagged people a lot. It tagged just a lot. It tagged Obama quite a bit. Now, if we were talking about categories, the search engines should all see all big categories, because you should be writing lots and lots of blog posts that are categorized under those 5 to 8 different categories that you've chosen very strategically. So again, this is just a visual representation of what the search engines are doing, reading your site and how you are using categories and tags to tell them, hey, this is what my site is all about. You should send more traffic to my site for people searching for these topics. Okay. So let me go back to my notes, and we're going to talk a little bit about how to choose your categories or tags. So for categories, again, you should take the very biggest, broadest, main topics that your website is about. So for instance, I'm going to start, if I were to make a list of topics on my website, it would be things like web design, marketing, business coaching. Now these start to get a little bit broad because even though they're related, the search engines might be saying, well, that's broad stuff. There are websites out there who are all about web design. There are websites out there who are all about marketing and just marketing topics. And so since my website has all these different types of topics on it, I have to be really smart as to what categories or tags I choose and how I use them. Okay. And so I need to use lots of tags that have web design or, for instance, WordPress. And right now I'm just creating a list as a for instance of how you should be creating a list to do this step one. What are the biggest topics that your website is about? Now, once you've developed that, you should prioritize them as to what the top 5 to 8 are. Some of these topics may fit in other ones, like for instance, WordPress might fit into web design. And then what you want to do is use a keyword tool like Google Keywords tool, and I'll just go there right now. And use this tool to research those topics. So you might have web design and WordPress, okay? Once we type that in, we can get some ideas as to what people are actually searching for. So we see, oh wait, lots of people are searching for WordPress. Lots of people are searching for web design. Now, as far as strategy in choosing a category, you don't have to worry about this competition column too much. You can use it as a reference because it might help you choose smarter topics. But the main point really is to tell the search engines what your site is all about. And that should be independent of what your competitors are doing necessarily, unless you have a really good category and SEO keyword strategy, which you should. The better one that you have, the better results you'll get. But you may have a topic that is extremely competitive. And if you want to establish really key relevance for your site, go ahead and feel free to pick the topics that are the most relevant. But make sure that there's lots of searches for them. You should be using categories that lots of people are searching for, because you're going to load lots of content into those categories. Now we'll go back to the notes, choose the topics with consistently high search rate, and you're establishing the relevance. And by saying this is what I mean by you don't have to go by this competition column too much. You really just want to establish the most relevance you can for the main topic of your website. Now, for tags, you're going to use a very similar process, but it's going to be much more localized to the article that you're writing. Because again, tags are for buzzwords in that article, the main topic of that specific article. That article is going to have a category, yes, but now you can get more specific with a tag. The tag should also, and I'm going to skip to the end here, the tag should be the key word or phrase for your article. So you want to use it in the title of your article or blog post. And you want to use it about 3% word concentration in that article. So if you had 100 words in the article, you would have this tag in there 3 times. If you had a 300-word article, which is the minimum that you should be writing per article or blog post, that gives you 9. You should have that tag in there 9 times. You don't want it more or less, because too much is spammy. Not enough is, again, you're not talking about it enough. So the search engines are going to say, well, we're not quite sure that's what this article is actually about. So that gets into how you write articles, and that's a different topic from today. But you want to use a keyword that is a buzzword. It can be the name if you're writing about a person, or it should be a name if you're writing about a person. If it's a celebrity, that's going to be a good buzzword, because people are always searching for celebrities. Trending topics, those are always great, because again, that's a lot of buzz going on about that topic. And it may simply be the main subject matter of your article. So I do things like WordPress tutorials as tags, or how to use WordPress, or learn WordPress as my tags, because I talk about those a lot. Even though they're not going to be the main category of my site, that's still what people are searching for. And it's the search engines are going to pick that up and say, oh, well, he's writing about that a lot, so let's take a closer look. Let's send more traffic that way. Now, for these, when you use your keyword planner, the more competitive, like if you can get a high search and low competition result for a keyword, use that. So for instance, if I was going to write about Seal's divorce, Seal got an amicable divorce, for instance, and that was a huge buzz time. So we got Heidi Klum children, Heidi Klum and Seal. Right here, I can see lots of searches every month, low competition. I would probably grab this and possibly use it a bunch of times. I'd probably use it as a tag, and I'd probably use this. For instance, I could say Heidi Klum and Seal have an amicable divorce. That could be the tag that I use, Heidi Klum and Seal. It could be the title of my article, Heidi Klum and Seal get divorced. And I would use that several times throughout the article. And by doing it this way, using this kind of researched knowledge, I'm going to have a much better chance of the search engine sending traffic to my website. So not only do you want to be strategic, you want to research what you're doing and how you're doing it, because that's going to get you the very best result. Because if you do it well, that blog post could get you traffic, tens, hundreds, even thousands of hits per month. And that's just free business for the rest of your life. How can we say no to free business? So writing well, strategically planned articles using categories and tags the right way is super, super important for your business and getting more traffic to your site. Okay, so that's how we choose categories and tags. That's how we use categories and tags. And the benefit in the end is going to be that you have that beautifully created web that I showed you in the beginning, so that the search engines understand this is what the site is about. This is the relevance of the whole site and this chain of sites, for instance. So for instance, I actually meant to show you this case studies. I did this as an example because when I go and I do hold on just a moment, let me get back to the keyword tool. I use this as a bad example because case studies is not really relevant to web design. I mean, it's a good search term. We'll show you in just a moment, but the relevance is actually kind of low. So I can see well, WordPress kind of changed my results here, but we've got case study that's got lots of searches, low competition. We've got portfolio websites, which is decent searches, but medium competition. So by looking at these, I'm going to start choosing how I use this as a category versus a tag. And I'm going to get some ideas as to what tags I can use and use them many, many times. So web design portfolio, maybe I'll use that. Probably not, because it's kind of low searches and high competition. So why would I want to fight for that? Right here, I've got case study format. No. Okay. So as you scroll through and you look for high searches and low competition if possible, but if I'm choosing my tag, I kind of want something that is high search, but it still has to be high relevance to my main website topic, which is going to be web design. So as a for instance, this is going to be changed to a topic that's got a much better relevance for my site, as well as some really good traffic of people searching for that topic each month. And then by using my keywords strategically in the article, then I'm going to start getting more attention from the search engines, and they'll be sending people my way. So I want to thank you for being here. I'm going to go ahead and end this meeting and open it up to questions and discussion. And I want to thank you for being here. Again, I feel like by teaching you how to use WordPress, that I'm really helping you succeed at your business, because the less you are struggling and wrestling with your website, the more you're going to be able to focus on growing your business, and that helps you succeed. And that's just good for you. It's good for your clients. It's good for everyone. So I appreciate you for being here. Please share ninjaversity.com with your friends, your colleagues, anyone you know who uses WordPress and would benefit from learning how to use it better. And by doing that, we're going to be able to keep these meetings free. We're going to be able to keep holding them on a weekly basis. We've had some really great attendance, really great questions. And so again, thank you for being here, and we'll see you next time.